Good morning, senior TAP classes. I'm not sure if everyone is, I know the bell just rang, so you'll probably have students coming in periodically, but we're gonna go ahead and try to get this thing started because we don't have a lot of time and we have some good information that we want to try to cover for our seniors. Just to get started, seniors, in keeping with what we promised you guys, we had the senior class meeting a few weeks ago, and we asked you all to fill out a survey. And in that survey, we said we would go be coming to the senior TAP classes, and we wanted to bring you guys information that you requested. So the main topic that it looks like was suggested was information on like financial pieces about leaving high school, whether that's you're working or how to save money, and scholarship searching and information about scholarships and kind of how to get about that. So we've got a few speakers this morning that we're gonna process through. We've got 3 different speakers and we're just gonna jump right in. We'll start out with Miss Promise Bruno, and she's gonna I recommend you guys get out something to write with, get this information down. We're going to record this as well, so you'll have access to it on the counseling webpage. But should be some really vital information, really helpful information. And we'll go ahead and we'll let Miss Bruno jump in and start with finishing college debt free.
All right. Well, again, thank you for this opportunity. I'm just super excited to be able to share my experience that just happened. So I was new to all of this. I had a daughter who just graduated last year, so 2021, from the high school. And one of the things that we started doing was she decided early on that she was going to go and attend school out of state. And so after looking at the numbers at the different universities that she had applied for, I knew for certain that that was not something I could pay for 100% out of pocket. And so what we decided was we had a game plan. And so I'm going to go over that with you. And I know this is a short version of what I presented to 2 of the AVID classes, but I also want to share, if you guys are writing down and you have any questions after I present, throughout the week, throughout the school year, you can find me in C289 is my office. So I am in C Wing in the TAC office. So those of you who have questions or just need additional support, just know that you have support in me. I hear that they can't hear anything, so I don't know if I need to continue talking. Can you hear me okay, Donna?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll continue.
I think I need to stay unmuted, so.
Okay, so as you guys can see the slide, this is just a 4-step process that myself and my daughter created along the way to help her reach her goals. So I want to also go on the record by saying there's no way that I am an expert at this process. I just know that it worked for my household, and I hope that this information will be helpful for the rest of you students. I'll also, before I begin going through the steps, I also want to say that this method that we put together, it only works if you are highly motivated to do it. And so I know with you guys being seniors, I know what that world is like. Many of you probably are working, you have extracurricular activities, and may even be helping in the household with younger siblings. And so I want you to know that, again, this step by no means was easy. However, though, it's like a part-time job. And so it really is going to depend on your commitment in going through each of these scholarships. So with that, we'll just start with step 1, as you guys can read. It basically just says, look at the scholarships and write them down for which you're eligible. What I mean by that is the counselors did an amazing job last year, and I know they're doing it again this year, where on the website, you'll be able to go to the counselor's corner and you'll be able to click a link that has all of the updated scholarships. So what myself and my daughter did was every scholarship that was listed, we then opened it. You guys can mute your computers. So what we did was off of that list that the counselors had put up, it's an Excel document. We literally went through every scholarship. It was over 30 scholarships listed. We went through every scholarship and we looked at the eligibility and the criteria information. And if it was anything that my daughter was eligible for, whether it had GPA or she wanted to write an essay about it, any of those credentials, what we did was we wrote every single scholarship down. The second piece of that is we looked at the deadlines of those scholarships because it was going to be important for us to be able to not only complete the application on time, but also make sure that we have the additional information we need for those scholarships. So if you see in step 2, again, this was our method. We were very organized in our home and in my office. I have a whiteboard. And so you want to pick what's going to work for you. So some people want a whiteboard. Some people like the calendar in their phone. Some people like the simple spiral notebook where they can write things down. However, you can stay organized. I suggest that you use that method when getting ready to jot down the scholarships that you want to apply for. And then step 3, which was really important for our process because my daughter did apply to over 25 scholarships. And so this process was important because every scholarship needed letters of recommendation. Some needed more than 2. And so with that being said, we started early on. So number 1, you see, we needed to know the scholarships we were going to apply for. We were organized with what the dates were, and then we looked at all the criteria. And so this is really important for seniors because you, a lot of you will be asking teachers, administrators, your school counselor, maybe a coach. And it's really important to start early and give the people you want to write a letter for you enough time so that it's a great letter, okay, needless to say. And so what we did with our experience is after we knew how many scholarships she was going to apply for, we went through every one to see what the criteria was for how many letters of recommendation she needed. So as you can see in step 3, we chose 5 people. We had an administrator write one, 2 teachers, a counselor, and a coach and a supervisor. So my daughter did work, so we also had one from her job too. And what she was able to do as she was applying for each scholarship, if she needed an updated letter, it was already simple for her to go to the teacher or go back to the counselor for just them to simply update the date of that letter of recommendation. And the reason why I say that piece is important is, let's say right now it's September and you're applying for a scholarship in February. It's okay, you know, it's a personal choice that we chose, but it's okay to still use that letter of recommendation that has a September date. But for our preference, what we wanted to make sure is that the scholarships that she was applying for, the committee knew, man, this was a recent letter of recommendation. So if you already can have those in your file and it's a simple just ask for that person to update the date of that letter, they would be more than willing, because it was my experience, that they can update that letter rather than write you a letter every time you're applying. So seniors, if you haven't heard anything else about this piece, please remember to start asking for your letters of recommendation as soon as possible. And then step 4, each scholarship that we applied for was completed 2 weeks prior to the deadline. And the reason why, as you can see, is that we wanted to make sure that we had at least 1 to 2 people proofread every application she submitted. So my daughter was fortunate enough that I read every application she submitted, but my eyes were not enough. We had several other teachers. We had people in the community that she worked with. We just needed a second pair of eyes to read her applications before she submitted it. So the reason why I put that 2-week deadline is so that once you get 1 to 2 people to proofread it for any errors, then you can feel comfortable when you go submit it. And so, again, this is a short version of what the process that worked for us. But I also want to share with you guys, the other piece of it is that it worked. So my daughter is able to attend her #1 university of her choice. Tuition is $50,000 a year. She does not have to pay a dime for it because she did apply for over 25 scholarships. Every penny counts. And so I know when I spoke to 2 of the AVID classes, I shared a little bit of information that, some scholarships were only $200. Some was only $250. Every penny adds up. So I want you to remember that. Do not get discouraged about the amount of that scholarship, but apply for as many as you can, as soon as you can. And the counseling department did a wonderful job with posting that information and keeping it updated in that Excel spreadsheet. So again, if you guys have questions for me about this, my office is in the TAC, so in the C wing, TAC office, C289. I'd be more than happy to sit with you one-on-one if you need additional support. So thank you again to the counseling team for asking me to be a part of this.
And thank you so much for sharing. I'm getting an echo back to myself, sorry. Very, very, very helpful information. So take it to heart, seniors, and we will, again, this will be recorded and put on our counseling website, so you'll have access to the information. So we will, moving forward, we're gonna have financial responsibility tips from Mr. Herring.
Welcome, guys. If you can go to the next slide, that'd be great. Basically, guys, I'm gonna talk to you guys real briefly about some important things. Now, I'm gonna piggyback off of Miss Bruno, what she just talked about. And so if you guys see this slide right here, May 29th, 2022, okay, that's Sunday after you graduate. So my kids know this that have personal finance, and if you guys don't have personal finance this semester, because it is a senior course, and you have it next semester, you'll be hearing the same things over and over, okay, from me. One thing is too, if you don't have the class and you want to get in the class, it's a great class, okay? Like I tell my students all the time, the only class that everything I teach you, you will use for the rest of your life, okay? And so that's going to be important for you. So as you guys can see, basically you're coming to a big stop sign in your life, okay? The day after graduation is a big stop sign. The reason I say that to my students in my class is because for the last 13 years of your life, it's been planned out, okay? You had kindergarten, first grade, second grade, okay? When you're in 5th grade, you were going to 6th grade the next year, okay? So you're coming to a big stop sign in your life, and you have to have a plan when that date hits, okay? What's that plan gonna be? Okay, and just like Miss Bruno had said, you have to have a plan. If you're going to go to college, like I tell my students, if you're going to college, you should be in that counseling office every day, every week, okay, until you have all that information filled out. And she gave you great advice of how to start doing those scholarships. So one thing that I'm going to say that she said is she had a plan for her daughter, okay, and she had it mapped out. Okay, and also she put in a lot of work along with her daughter. And what happened is she's reaping the benefits of being able to go to college without having any debt. Okay, and you're going to see that debt, college debt, is going to be huge for you guys that want to take on these student loans and so forth. And you get buried in them. And when you get out, it's really tough to get unburied from those student loans. And it's going to take you a lot of time. So take her advice. If that is the turn that you're going to make when that stop sign hits, okay, and you get to that stop sign after graduation, are you going to make a right and go to college? If that's what you're doing, 2, 4, or trade school, okay, you should be thinking about that now and getting those things done now, okay, and that's going to be important for you. So you're going to come to a stop sign, okay, what are you going to do? Are you going to a 2-year, 4-year? Are you going to the military? Are you going to go get a job? Are you going to be playing Fortnite in your parents' basement? Okay, that's not a great plan, but those are things you got to start thinking about. Okay, and it's intimidating. Okay, and a lot of kids in my class, when they take my class, a lot of kids are like, I don't want to basically grow up. I don't want to become an adult. This stuff is scary. As it's only scary if you don't basically go and attack it, okay? And you sit back. A lot of people don't want to attack things financially, and they sit back and they think it's going to be fine if they kind of ignore it. okay? You don't ignore it. You educate yourself on it and you get better with it as you go along. And you're gonna make mistakes. Like I tell my kids in my class all the time, you're going to make mistakes, financial mistakes, but you gotta learn from those financial mistakes. If you continuously make those financial mistakes, shame on you. Okay, if you learn from your financial mistakes, obviously, that's a positive for you. Okay, and what we try and do in personal finance is basically how I've structured the class is basically from a lot of mistakes that people have made, and I'm trying to get my students not to make those same mistakes. Okay, so today I know I'm talking a little bit about different things, but some things that I just want to give you some advice on. Okay, number one, okay, this next slide kind of tells you a little bit about this, but why we save money. Okay, so I know we talk about this in class a lot. Okay, you may be a spender, you may be a saver, you may be both. Okay, and I'm not going to judge you on any of those. Okay, the one thing is you got to know your characteristic. But one thing is that in life, okay, it's the sad fact of it, but a lot of things revolve around money. And so how you deal with the money is going to be very important for your future. Okay, and again, you can deal with it head on or you can try and avoid it. But when you avoid it, usually, you know, you're going to make those mistakes and you're going to get into debt and it's going to be a whirlwind as you go on. Okay, one thing I always tell my students, okay, you know, you inherit a lot of things from your parents. You inherit their DNA, you know, basically their personality sometimes and so forth and so on. But the one thing you do not have to inherit unless you want to, okay, in a positive way, okay, is basically how they dealt with money. Okay, so you can, you know, fork off your family tree a little bit and hopefully, you know, go in a positive direction if your parents were going in a negative direction and so forth. Okay, but if they're going in a positive direction, feed off of them. Okay, ask them questions. How did they get there? Okay, how did they become successful financially? Okay, and financially successful doesn't mean that, you know, I'm a millionaire. Financially successfully means, you know, I spend what I have. I know the difference between a need and a want. Okay, so this slide right here just kind of talks about the 3 reasons I feel that you guys should save money. Okay, number 1 is for emergency fund. Okay, you should always have money in a fund that you're not going to touch. And when that emergency occurs, I have that money. So I don't have to use a credit card. I don't have to go into debt. Okay, and at your age, okay, that emergency fund may be built up to $400 to $500. Okay, as you get older, you want to build that up to about $1,000. As you get older and you got mouths to feed, okay, you want to build that up to 3 to 6 months of what you earn. Okay, if anything has taught us from the last year and a half, okay, with COVID going on, emergencies happen. Okay, and who planned for them is basically who's getting through this pandemic without a lot of worry, a lot of stress, okay, a lot of sweat, okay, because they planned for them. A lot of people lost their jobs, okay, and you may have been one of them, okay, so obviously without that money coming in, okay, you didn't have money to pay your bills, and guess what? Like I tell my class all the time, the bills didn't stop, okay, and one thing I talk to my kids about a lot in class is that basically, and I'm kind of blunt, so they kind of know this already, and if you don't know me, okay, I'm pretty straightforward. Okay, when you get out of high school, okay, in about 6 months here, 7 months, okay, the number of people that care about you really reduces. Okay, and I don't want to be morbid on that fact, but when I say care about you, is really looking out for your best interest. Okay, and especially when it comes to the almighty dollar, people don't really look out for your best interest. Okay, they want to get that buck. So you got to educate yourself on money. Okay, and I'm talking family included. Okay, because that almighty dollar changes a lot of people. So you got to make sure that you do that. So emergency fund is always there so that you can have something when an emergency occurs. Okay, Friday night pizza with your buddies isn't an emergency. Okay, emergencies, you know, if your car breaks down, okay, God forbid you lose your phone. Okay, I know that's an emergency for you guys. That would be great for me. Okay, but those are things that you guys got to make sure that you look at. Okay, second is purchases. Okay, so you got to save for your purchases. Okay, when I say save for your purchases, okay, you got to know the difference between a need and a want. Okay, if you're that person that basically knows that they're just going to buy, a credit card's not for you. Okay, if you know you're a person that's going to save your money, okay, and when I have enough money, I buy what I want/need, then you're going to be okay. And credit cards can be for you. okay? And the third thing that we save money for is wealth building, okay? And wealth building is important for us to start early at, okay? And that's on my next slide, okay? The one thing I'm gonna talk to you guys about here, and I tell my kids this all the time, and we're gonna talk about it coming up here, okay? Every single one of you can be a millionaire, okay? And you're sitting back, I know I can't, I know where I come from and so forth and so on, okay? I'm not talking a millionaire in a day, I'm not talking a millionaire in 10 years, okay? But the thing that you guys have on your side is time, okay? You got time, okay? Because basically it's called compound interest, okay? Interest compounds, and the biggest part of a exponential function, if you guys remember anything from mathematics, is the exponent. And the exponent is time when you look at it, when you look at compound growth, the exponent is time. So time is on your side, okay? And it doesn't matter, okay, but you want to start now, okay? Right away, start now. You don't start saving, quote unquote, for your future later, okay? I'm talking down the road. I'm talking when you're 50, 60, you can be a millionaire if you do it now, okay? If you start now, you can have $1 million in the future. And it's not late night TV. It's not something made up. It's just straightforward, nothing risky, just basically putting it into some investments that are safe, okay? But having basically growth of about 6% to 8% yearly, okay? And, you know, most adults start when it's too late, but I shouldn't say that. It's never too late, but a lot of adults don't wait till, you know, planning for retirement or having money in the future until they're 35, 40, 45 years old, okay? You're 18 years old, you start now, you'll have it by the time you're 60, okay? Which goes to my next slide. Look at my next slide here, okay? And I want to show you guys this, if you guys can look at this, okay? There's two people, you got Jack and Blake, okay? So if you can see the graph, hopefully you guys can see the end part of the graph here, okay? But when you're looking at Jack and Blake, okay? Jack started investing at age 21, so 3 years older than you. He invests $2,400 every year, okay? So if you invest $2,400 every year, that's basically like $200 a month. I'm not saying you have to do $200 a month, okay? But if you invested $200 a month, and he stopped when he was 30, okay? But he kept it in the growth factor. So he just stopped. He went from 21 to 30. So for 9 years, he invested $21,000. Okay, so if you can see his end result, by the time he reached 67, at the age of 67, he had $2.5 million. Okay, he stopped investing. Okay, he kept it in, and it just grew and grew, and that's what we call compound interest. Okay, and when your money compounds, okay, you're earning interest off of interest, basically. And I'm not talking in a bank account. I'm not talking in a savings account. Savings accounts aren't earning anything right now. Okay, I'm talking investing it, but investing it in something that is reliable, okay? And that's where people get intimidated. So you can always come down and talk to me and then C183 if you're not taking the class of how you can get started doing this. But look at Blake, okay? Blake's another guy, but he started investing when he was 30. He didn't think about it. Okay, but he invested all the way till he was 67. Every year he invested, okay? And he invested the same amount, $2,400 every year, okay? He invested basically 3 times as much as Jack invested, if you can see that, $88,000. And at the end, okay, he is basically $1.1 million short of what Jack did, okay? So if you can take anything from this today, okay, you got to start now. Okay, start now. And if it's $50, it's $50. If it's $25, it's $25. Okay, but as you get older and as you start to earn more money, okay, you can start putting more in. And as I tell my kids in my class, okay, you do it now. You got one mouth to feed right now, and that's yours. Okay, if you wait until you're married and you have kids, you've got a lot of mouths to feed, and it's a lot more difficult to start putting money in when you got more mouths to feed. Okay, so right now, you only got one mouth to feed. Okay, so start putting in your money now. And if it's $20, it's $20. Okay, and like I tell the kids, it comes out direct deposit, just like most of you guys get paid from your job. If it comes out, like you never saw it. Okay, and guess what? You forget about it, and then 10 years down the road, you're like, whoa, look how much money I have in there. Okay, and then 20 years down the road, 30 years down the road, you're like, wow, okay, look how much money I have in there, and you don't even know it's coming out of your paycheck. Okay, and then next slide, basically real quick, are just things that we talk about in this class. Okay, things that you got to start thinking about. Okay, I know, like I said at the beginning, avoidance is not the way to go. Attacking it head on is the way to go. And when I say that, your characteristic too. Am I a spender? Am I a saver? How am I going to attack that? And the main thing is have a plan. Okay, and that plan includes a budget also. Okay, how to budget your money. So guys, I'm in C-183, and if you didn't sign up for personal finance, you don't have it next semester. Okay, like I tell my kids, it's not a class that a day goes by that you're not going to learn something that you're going to use in your future. So appreciate the time listening to me. I know listening to 2 people, 3 people in a row kind of drags on you, but if you're interested in this stuff, come see me. Go see your counselor if you're not already in personal finance. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Herring. That's super helpful information, and hopefully some of you seniors will take it to heart. Again, you'll have access to it on the recorded Zoom, but I encourage you to go back and look at it so that you can, again, this is valuable information for an 18-year-old or for myself. I won't tell you how old I am, but it's valuable information. So thank you again, Mr. Herring. And next we will have our final speaker, Mr. Kressler, who's going to talk to you guys about navigating the scholarship piece.
Good morning, I'm Mr. Kressler. You may see me in the library. I'm in the office down there behind the windows for GT, but I also do a lot of work with the scholarships and thinking about post-secondary work as well. So the whole idea of scholarships, if you've seen, is the idea of planning ahead and taking initiative. So this is the idea of letting people pay for your school. So if you go to the next slide. When you go to the counseling page, you will see it's kind of, you got to click on a few things. So if you go to our counseling page, go to the second link down where it says Counseling Center News, upcoming events and scholarship information. That's where you're going to find most of the scholarship links there. The picture of the car is just to show you guys, if you see the car, you're in the right place, okay? So the counseling department has done a lot of work just finding, kind of doing like the initial work of finding scholarships for you and kind of vetting them and going through and showing you what you need to do. So on the next slide, you will see the left-hand column, that's actually the link you're going to click on. So this is kind of a good place to begin. So as you're getting out all of your, you're getting information, getting your letters, you're getting everything set up for community service hours and so on. This is a good place to begin. So on our high school website, the counseling page again, which just showed you the link to it, click on the thing that says FFCHS when you get there. And this is our counseling center has put together a number of scholarships. There's a couple hundred on there. There's quite a few on there. But the nice thing is it also has information about how to apply for them, when the deadlines are, has links to every website you can go to do it. So this is going to be a place where if you are looking for scholarships, you don't already begin, this is a good place to go. So scholarships are based on a lot of factors. Oops, sorry, can you go back one? A lot of factors. So merit, I've had a lot of people ask what that means. Essentially think of that as your grades and your test scores. And so also some of the academic classes, if you're taking some challenging AP classes. Scholarships can be based on financial need, which is going to be the income in your family, which is different for everybody. It could be based on military commitment, leadership roles, like if you're in student council or DECA and you have some leadership roles, ethnicity, school programs, community service. A lot of scholarships do require community service, so it's a good idea to start keeping track of like your awards and your time and what you've done for your community. And then of course, athletic achievements. There are major scholarships, there are micro scholarships, both are worthwhile. I think Ms. Bruno talked about this, but major scholarships may be worth like tens of thousands of dollars, but micro scholarships for $200–300, they add up. So those are also on the website. And then the deadlines are pretty fast approaching, and I'll kind of mention that as we go through. So on the next one, another place to start is Going Merry. This is actually the first website on our school list. And so if you go to Going Merry, it's basically a search engine for college scholarships. So it'll ask you for personal information. You type in like your name, where you go to school. It'll ask some questions about GPA and so on. So it's a good idea to have your transcript handy. But basically they match you with scholarships that fit your profile. It might match with some clubs that you're in, some courses you're in, your GPA. And then they're going to send you a lot of emails. They're going to send you a lot of emails that are based on what they think you can apply for. But there's going to be quite a few. So I recommend set something up where you have like a folder it goes to, or it goes to a certain place when it comes from Going Merry. I signed up for it. I see quite a few emails. I mean, they're useful, but not all the scholarships are going to interest you. So since you're going to get so many emails, just set it up so you can actually manage it. And as you begin searching, create and update a list of volunteer hours. When I went through here, I noticed a lot of them asked for your volunteer leadership hours. It's just a good idea because you're going to forget them. You're going to forget what you did. So just keep track of them and keep a bullet of the times that you did it. Because also with Going Merry too is once you enter it, every time you apply for a scholarship, you can auto fill your forms. So it kind of speeds things up as you go. On the next slide, colleges have their own scholarships, of course, too. So not like Going Merry, where you have to search like for every scholarship there is. But if you have a good idea of where you want to go to school and you've applied for it, you've been accepted for it, most major colleges are going to have some kind of a scholarship page. If you go to admissions and click on scholarships, you'll notice I just took a little screenshot there and put it on. So this is for UCCS. There were probably about 3 or 4 pages, maybe 60, 70 scholarships. And again, not all of them are going to apply to you. Like the first one on there, it applies to what have you done for being a member of the Greek community? Well, if you haven't done that, then it's not going to apply for you. The second one is more, I think, medical. The third one that on listed is honors college. You're going to have to go through and see which ones apply to you. There's also quite a few in the Pikes Peak area for military families. So go through and again, like Ms. Bruno was saying, and make a list of the ones you can actually apply for and make a note of that. And these are going to be on the college websites themselves. They really want to attract new students and first-year students, so they offer a lot of first-year student scholarships. These are also on the FMS or Fountain Fort Carson website as well. Go to the next one. These are just sample scholarships you may be interested in. Again, you may fit these, like fit the student they're looking for, you may not fit the profile. So this one I put on first because it's coming up very soon, but this is a major scholarship, so it can award up to $200,000. When you see the money amount go up, you know it's going to be very competitive. So this is for major schools all over the country like Duke, MIT, USC, UCLA. So some very high academic schools. It is due on September 28th. But you'll see most of these are going to require like transcripts, information like essays, letters of recommendation. But some of them, like on the right there, you can see where the owl is. This one requires that your family's income is below $65,000 annually. So they're really trying to target students that have that financial need. So maybe you're thinking, I can't afford to go to college. This might be the kind of scholarship you want to go for. The next one on there is the Betcher. You've probably heard the Betcher. I know some of you signed up for this with the Counseling Center already. This is a Colorado-based scholarship. It's up to $20,000 a year. This is also a good place to start, especially if you think you qualify for merit. This one does not, I believe it doesn't have any of the SAT requirements because it was suspended, so you don't have to have them this year. So you don't have to submit your score for this one. It does require things like leadership roles, community service. The deadline, this is November 1st. This is another one that we can help you with. It's a very significant award, and it can be applied to pretty much any school in Colorado that's a public school. The next one is Daniels. Daniels is another regional one, and these are, again, major scholarships. This one's based on GPA, on merit. You can see some SAT scores, also financial, like how much income your family's bringing in. That's all taken from, like for most of these things, they take it from your FAFSA information. So if you go to FAFSA night and fill out the forms, that's how the scholarships know about financial need too. But this is another one you can apply for that is deadlines in November. But these are major ones. On the next slide, you'll see that a lot of the ones on our website are actually micro scholarships, but these are also very worthwhile. Because if you think about it, the really competitive ones for a lot of money, yes, go for them. But you may not have as much competition for these. So like the first one here is not an essay. It's not based on grades. It is only based on making a movie. You have to make a film. I think it's 3 to 8 minutes on environmentalism. And there's like 4 or 5 different prizes, depending if you do animation, if you do live action. And it's like $1,000 cash and then $1,000 scholarship. So if you like making films, there's different scholarships for that. Second one is for student athletes. You probably heard of the Heisman. That's another scholarship that is, I think it's $1,000 and $2,000 scholarships for student athletes. You have to have a 3.0 and write a little essay for it. Most companies like Coca-Cola, they have foundations where they award scholarships. I didn't really think much of these. I didn't apply for many. I applied for Coca-Cola back when I was in high school a long time ago. And I got a $500 scholarship out of it. So they are legitimate, they are real. And typically these smaller micro scholarships don't require all the effort and transcripts that the other ones do, to be honest. Coming up soon, the next slide, I'm trying to wrap it up for time here. This one, free application days. You were gonna do this in school, the counselors have this set up. So between October 19th and 21, so you're gonna come down to, I believe it should be in the library. And this one is going to be a couple days where you can apply for colleges free in the state of Colorado, which is pretty unique. That's not the case in all states. And it's like 32 public colleges. There's some other private schools too. I believe DU's on there in Colorado College and a couple others. But all seniors, you will get the chance to apply during the school day. And of course, you can continue that on your own. It's just a good chance that apply for a lot of different schools. It's free. If you're thinking about that route, and you want to leave your options open, you're going to do this and start it during school, and we can help you with that. And then you can continue it on your own too. And then the last one, just a reminder, on October 21st, which also is the same time as those free college application days, is FAFSA night. So FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. We will have a meeting in the main cafeteria from 5:30 to 7:30 at the high school. There will be representatives, I think it's from Pikes Peak Community College, will be here to help out with the process. It's really important to talk to your folks about this ahead of time, so your parents and guardians get tax information, get some forms ahead of time. And of course, we'll get hold of your counselor or get hold of you and tell you what to bring, but it's just a good time to ask questions about FAFSA, what it means, about like financial options for you, whether it's 2-year, 4-year college programs, whatever you're interested in, trade school. This is an opportunity for you to get some of that paid for, whether it be loans or grants. And that night will be kind of a helpful night for you with experts that actually know what they're talking about, because it can be a little confusing if you don't have help. So that's kind of I try to speed it up a little bit, but if you have any questions on scholarships, again, I'm in the library, I'm in the office, and I kind of update the website page for the school and check on the deadlines. So I do kind of know which ones are coming up soon. So if you have questions, feel free to talk to me. I can help you out.
Thank you, Mr. Kressler. So we really appreciate these 3 staff members inputting and giving us the information, again, based on what the majority of the seniors that did the survey requested that they wanted to hear about. The next one, again, we'll take more ideas. We do have what you guys have requested on the survey. So we're looking at, like, managing the stress of senior year and organizing and, getting classes squared away, and just kind of some of the final processes that you guys will need to go through to complete this senior year. I know it seems far away, it's coming quickly. So if you have questions, please reach out to your counselor. You can reach us via email. You can come into the office. Again, there is just a wealth of information on the website directly for seniors. And we just encourage you to reach out if you have questions. We're here for you. Mr. Kressler, Mr. Herring, Ms. Bruno, and then all of the counselors. Your teachers are very helpful resources. The information is there, so please reach out to us, and we look forward to connecting with you for the next tap and hopefully have some more helpful information for you guys. So have a good day, and thanks for tuning in.